Today's lesson is all about reviewing a little bit about what you know about probability, and I'm going to do a few reminders, and from there we are going to build the topic. So for some of you, what we're going to do today might look quite familiar, but hopefully it'll get us all on the same page. I've got a bag. In my bag, I have some counters, and I'm going to select some counters out of the bag. Now, in the first instance, I might grab a counter, and I might discover that the first one that I happen to pull out is a blue. But realistically, that doesn't tell me much about what happens, because the next one could be blue. It might be a different color, might be red or yellow. So we're not really sure. Just pulling out a blue from the bag doesn't tell us very much about what's going on. If we want to know the chance or the probability of pulling a blue out the bag, which we write as P brackets blue, we need to know two bits of information. We firstly need to know, well, how many blues are there in the bag? Because that will change our probability. And the second thing we need to know, well, if there's only one blue in the bag and there's only one counter, that makes it a lot more likely than if there's one blue out of a whole lot of counters. So we also need to know how many there are all together. And we write that as a fraction with the number of blues in the top and the number of counters in the bag on the bottom. So let's have a look. If we can see into our bag, we can see we have 3 blues. We have altogether 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 counters. That means our probability of picking a blue was 3 out of 8. Now, we can do the same for the other colors in our bag. So reds, we have 4 out of 8. And when you're doing these questions, please simplify if you can. So here we're going to a half. And for this last one, we've got probability of the yellow. And there's only one yellow in the bag. There's still 8 counters, so it's 1 over 8. These give us the probabilities of different things happening. I could actually ask a different question. I could say, what's the probability of green? We can still write that down. There are no green counters in our bag, but we just write 0 over 8. That simplifies to just 0. So we can write down the probability of different coming out of this bag by looking at how many of that thing there are out of how many altogether. So we're really writing down the fraction of the things in the bag that are blue, or the fraction of things that are red, and we're simplifying that where possible. Okay, so for lots of you, this will be a simple reminder of how to do probability, but it's a good starting point, and it's going to allow us to do some more complicated things. So today, this is our thing to practice. There's questions where you need to write down the probability of getting something out of the bag, and there's a few questions where you need to write, you're given the probabilities, and you need to draw the bag that relates to that. So I want you to have a go with that and see how you get on today.